The third of the tri-match games from the Clark Athletic Center. And this one is the UMass Boston Beacons facing off against Springfield College. Welcome back inside the Clark Athletic Center. My name is Milton Posner. Thank you so very much for watching the Beacons Broadcast Network and our presentation of women's volleyball today. UMass Boston pulled out a 3-2 win over Roger Williams in the opening game. Roger Williams turned around and had to face a Springfield College team that, as it turns out, they were no match for. Straight sets, an average margin of 10 points per set, and Hawks were sent home winless on a two-game day. And now the Beacons will take on the pride of Springfield College, and they will do it looking for what would be a signature win from the non-conference portion of their season. We'll get you started with the season statistics for both teams. And for UMass Boston, it's going to offer a chance for them to play a team that, as you will see, has some strong statistical showings in the NEWMAC conference, ranking in the top 5, or the top half of the conference, I should say, in most important statistical categories. Particularly, they are tops in digs. They have just a touch under 17 digs per set. So it's going to be incumbent on the UMass Boston hitters to make the most of it. UMass Boston, on the other hand, is about middle of the pack in pretty much every statistical category except for opponent's hit percentage. They are bottom of the LEC in that category, and as much as we discussed on the earlier broadcast that UMass Boston had been on a surge as of late, they have won 3 consecutive games, they still are going to be facing some dominant Springfield College hitters today, particularly Riley Donahue, who we're going to highlight in the player comparison up against Amelia Devlin. Devlin out for the Beacons in the last game had 38 assists to her name. She's averaging 4.5 per set on the season, with now over 260 total. But for Riley Donahue on the hitter side, I mean, the numbers really speak for themselves, but in particular, the understanding here that what you are dealing with is an all-conference caliber player. She has won the NEWMAC's Offensive Player of the Week 3 times in a season that is about 5 weeks old, maybe a little more. And she has been absolutely terrific for this team in her sophomore season. Outside hitter, 5'11" out of South Windsor, Connecticut. This is a Springfield College team that, and apart from the hitters, has got some height. UMass Boston's got one player over 6 feet tall. That would be Livia Trindade. She's not playing today. On the Springfield College side, they have 5 players 6 feet tall or taller. Well, the tallest clocking in at, it is Katie Wickstead, the sophomore middle blocker, at 5'3". So we are going to take a sneak peek at the Beacons. The other Saturday games on the schedule: cross country at the James Early Invite. Women's tennis is in the middle of their match. Women's soccer against Rhode Island College. They pulled out a last-second win, we are told, a goal by Olivia De Sousa with 5 seconds remaining to give them a 2-1 win. Men's soccer is coming up against Rhode Island College in the afternoon as well. And women's volleyball against Springfield is the game we are about to see. Women's volleyball also had a 3-2 win, as we mentioned earlier, over Roger Williams. Around the LEC, some other volleyball action coming your way today. These were the earlier games we were dealing with here. WestCon and Plymouth State, Keene State and UMass Dartmouth, a lot of other schools in conference action. Keene State playing Dean. They've got their own tri-match going there. Castleton, UMass Dartmouth also participating in non-conference play. And finally, Framingham State battling Eastern Connecticut State University. We are going to take a quick break for the anthem and be right back with the opening set in the last match of the day. A couple of loose teams taking the court. Onto the scoreboard here at the Clark Athletic Center. Both of them coming off of wins earlier in the day. UMass Boston 3-2 over Roger Williams before Springfield College annihilated them. The scores of those sets, for anyone who is not watching those games, Springfield took the first set 25-8 over Roger Williams, then 25-15 and 25-22. And the only reason the last one was so close is because Roger Williams was still sending its starters up, while Springfield was taking the opportunity to give some of their bench, quote-unquote, bench players a little bit more run. Away we go here. Springfield College on the serve. UMass Boston looking for a strong start. Townsend with a diving dig. Allie Townsend, that is. Two-time Defensive Player of the Week in the UMass Conference. And the Beacons strike first. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm Milton Posner. Happy to be bringing you this one. Tip shot. Devlin retrieves. And an illegal touch evens the score. Allie Townsend back to serve. 24 aces on the season, including a couple in the last game. She is their starting libero. Brogel with a power hit. Springfield recovers it nicely. And the point's going to go their way. Springfield College leading the UMass Conference, 17 digs per set. And that's going to power their game in the air. Brogel with a tap to the back corner. Lex Storer digs it out, and Donahue down the line. And you can see now, second in the conference in kills per set, fifth in aces per set, Riley Donahue. 5'11" outside hitter, the sophomore out of South Windsor, Connecticut, who has keyed the Springfield Pride attack all season. Tip deflection at the net. Free ball here. 1, 2, they go to Donahue, but the blown pass, and Donahue finds it anyway. Something out of nothing. Riley Donahue for her second kill in a row. 4-1 Springfield. And for UMass Boston, anytime you come into a game like this against an opponent of this caliber, 11-4 on the season, you're bringing a winning streak in, you better guard it closely. Brogel with a block. They go back to Donahue. Pops it in the middle. Guerra with a pancake. And a third consecutive kill for Riley Donahue. Apologies, that is the fourth consecutive kill from Riley Donahue. And so, as if to make whoever decided our players to watch seem prescient, Ms. Donahue has taken over in the early going 5-1, with all but one of those points courtesy of Riley Donahue kills, a couple assists for Allie Townsend, a couple for Megan Kurtjan as well. As good a time as any to get into the coaching matchup. On the UMass Boston side, it's Kalopi Delavuras. In her first season, handled the day-to-day operations of the team last season, and then when after the departure of Michael Houlihan, the head coach for the Johnson & Wales program, she stepped in, was trying to work with a team of more freshmen than anything else. Opposite her is a 12-year vet, Moira Long. 255 wins in her Division III career, or rather in her career with the Springfield Pride. 87 losses. She has been to 8 NCAA tournaments, including an Elite 8 appearance in her first season with the team. That would be 2011. Before that, she was in the LEC, 13 years at Plymouth State University, guiding them to their first Little East title. And a flubbed hit there for UMass Boston, 6th point of the set for the Pride. Moira Long has 10, count them 10, 20-win seasons in her career. A resume you can stack up against just about anybody in Division III. UMass Boston scrambling after the block. Dean gets it over, but a free ball. Lob up top, Donahue! Oh! That is leverage. That is force. And that is the 7th point of the set. Townsend's service run continues. Brogel, Devlin, wide to Garrity, settles for a tip. That one's close to the net, so UMass Boston's going to get another chance here. Tanu dug out, Lex Storer. They go wide to Garrity, and UMass Boston finally snaps the streak. Michaela Cleary into the game for the first time. Taryn Brogel back to serve for notching a couple of aces in the opener today. Dug out, Natalie Billett. Donahue blocked. Oh, and they're going to give chase. And UMass Boston back-to-back points for the first time. Brogel back to the serve. Billett from the back, still got a good hit over. And Brogel's going to set up Garrity. Dug out nicely by Townsend on the opposite side. Donahue and Brogel returns the favor. Garrity goes for the lob. Michaela Garrity finds the same spot. And the Beacons refusing to be pushed around in the early going. 3 consecutive points make it 4 consecutive points. And they refuse to be swallowed up in the first set the way Roger Williams was against Springfield by a 25-8 margin in a set that was never really close. Beacons fighting hard to avoid the same fate. Brogel again! Another ace for Taryn Brogel. Beacons within 1 all of a sudden. Brogel again. Little much for Donahue, but she handled it. And the Beacons take it anyway. We are even at 7 points apiece. And a timeout called on the Springfield side. Excuse me, appeared to be a little bit of confusion there. Official was gesturing. It looked like they may have been asking for one, but they clarify no, we're not. And the point got changed, as a matter of fact. It's 8-6, make it 9-6 in favor of Springfield. Awarding a violation and then the ball coming outside of the stick. So UMass Boston does not quite draw even, and they are now down 3. Westland, Devlin, Cleary. UMass Boston got a decent touch out of that, but Riley Donahue doesn't care. Continuing to light up the Beacons defense. Riley Donahue. Beacons long. And this one's starting to slip back into the realm of runaway. Sharp hit. Nearly hit one of the rafters before Allie Dean can give chase. Garrity, almost had one of the most beautifully precise hits of the day, but instead it sails out. Who wants this one? Cleary with a fake. Tanu just out. The UMass Boston coaches not necessarily thrilled about that, and that's going to take us to a timeout. 7-point lead for Springfield. We're going to show you the upcoming schedule for women's volleyball. They've got UMass Dartmouth after this in conference play, Keene State College as well. The Amherst and Emerson games, as you can see, are non-conference games, and the only one not on that screen. They will wrap up the regular season with a tilt at Castleton. At the moment, the Beacons are sitting at third to last in the conference. That would be 7th out of 9, with a 1-3 conference record, 5-12 overall. There are a couple of teams here that got first place votes, being UMass Boston getting 2 in the preseason poll, Keene State College with 1, who are sitting in the bottom half of the conference right now and looking to make their move. Back out onto the court, Michaela Garrity, Lauren Westland, Allie Dean. Colby Atlas going to get her first run here instead of Alyssa Tanu. Michaela Cleary and Amelia Devlin. Stepping back to serve now, Megan Kurtyon for the Pride. Joined by Natalie Billett, Allie Townsend. Jamie Albrecht getting some of her first run. Olivia Gentry. And rounding out the unit, of course, Riley Donahue. Serve goes into the net, and so UMass Boston will take it now down 6, 13-7 in the opening set of play against Springfield. Henderson with a soft lob in there. It's dug out. Donahue with a tip, and Cleary with a recovery. Garrity saved by Townsend. Billett with a hard smack, and down. Natalie Billett, another sophomore out of Comic, New York. Half this team is New Yorkers. Odd enough for a Division III school in Massachusetts, but there you have it. 9 out of the 18. Billett again. Billett again. Second on the team in kills per set behind Riley Donahue, and you can see why. 5'10" with some serious bunnies to go along. Henderson choked off on the dig. Allie Dean recycles it, but it's not going to be enough. Olivia Gentry drops the hammer down. And this is the Springfield College we saw in the first couple of sets against Roger Williams earlier today. And the run continues. Not so much. Service error off the hand of Donahue. Michaela Garrity. Townsend Fields. Up top, shanking the hit there was Albrecht, but it stays in play. Townsend digs it out, back spinning. Kurtyon retrieves. Up top and down. Lauren Westland, freshman out of Phoenix. What strikes you, I suppose, about Springfield College, among other things, is their ability, even when they miss that first hit or they don't connect the pass the way they want to put up a moderately competitive hit. There haven't been a ton of what you would genuinely consider to be free balls, as Westland just misses on her second straight kill. Even on the balls that go off to the side or even behind them, they are putting up competitive enough hits to make the Beacons work. And the Beacons have worked for those opportunities. There have not been easy kills to come by in this first set for UMass Boston. And an ace, Gentry. Doubling up the Beacons now are the Pride, 18-9. They tripled up Roger Williams in the first set of their game. It's 25-8. And that one served prematurely, it looks like. Gentry did not wait for the whistle, and so the Beacons are going to get a free point out of it. The Springfield bench, always vocal. UMass Boston not giving them a couple of chances to, as they have flubbed 2 easy points, the Pride have. But the bench very vocal all of the Roger Williams game with a couple of ringleaders, choreographed chants and dances. Billett, Garrity Fields on the back, lob up top, Henderson out of the back row into the middle, Townsend digs it out. Donahue from the back, a little bit too far back, and the Beacons take another point, 3 in a row for UMass Boston. And the first one that they have seized through a sustained rally. Allie Dean to serve now. Townsend, who she's setting up, it's going to be, oh, beautiful pancake there on the hit. And UMass Boston, oh, it's still going. Ball got caught up in the net. Brogel running the slide. Taryn Brogel shuffles out, slams down hard. 4 consecutive points for the Beacons. And Allie Dean will stay on the server spot in the overpass. Another ace for Dean. Her first of the game, her 3rd on the day. And UMass Boston, with 5 points in a row, is making the first set competitive after it looked like it was going to be a blowout. We're going to take a quick break here and be back with a remainder of the opening frame from Clark Athletic Center. You're watching UMass Boston on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
What looked like a first set rout for Springfield is now turning into something much more interesting. 18-14 the score. Henderson with a nice dig there. Westland, and that ball was behind her. She didn't really have the angle she wanted, and Springfield made her pay. Ambushed with a block. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It landed out. My bad. As did that one from Allie Dean. So the service run ends at 5 points. It was 6 in a row then for UMass Boston. And so a 4-point lead. This is certainly not a comfortable position for the Beacons, but they have made this a competitive first set. They go wide. Westland through the block. Back within 3. UMass Boston showing some mettle today. And showing some of the performance that was a little bit lacking during the 8-game losing streak that set them behind. So that's a service error from the Beacons, putting the lead back to 4. Dean with a misplay, and that's an ace. Billett. This one the Beacons control. Brogel over the line. A flail from Taryn Brogel. It was not the best play for the Beacons as a team. And now the lead back to a half dozen with Billett at the server spot still. Not for long. Free point for UMass Boston, and the time for a run is running out. Tony Guerra takes to the server spot now. One of the better servers on this Beacons squad. Lob up top, Donahue through the block. Guerra with a save. They go wide to Garrity on the tip. And the size of the blockers, the leaping ability and the length, too much to overcome. 23-17 the score. Remember, we said the 5 tallest players who are actually dressed to play today are all on the Springfield side. Brogel, Townsend with a dive, the tap. Oh my goodness, what a play. Megan Kurtjan right at the net with a surprise tap. And it's a set point, the first of the match. UMass Boston needing some kind of magic run here to even this up. Guerra, they'll send it to Colby Atlas. Oh, and a nice save by Billett. Donahue, that'll do it. 25-17, the first set margin, as Riley Donahue leads the Springfield Pride to a controlling set 1 victory. We'll be right back with a second set from the Clark Athletic Center. Don't you go anywhere.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Proportion to me is the
The Beacons had their way in the middle of the first set, but ultimately it was the opening charge on the finishing run that clinched it for the Springfield Pride. Now on to the second set. Springfield has not lost a set today. UMass Boston now an even 3-3 on sets after a 3-2 win earlier. against Roger Williams. Maeve Volts on the hit. Returning the favor is Lauren Westland. And the Beacons strike first in the in the second set. Storer. Oh, oh no. Just outside the lines. Looks as though it may have gotten a tiny bit of the line, and it looked like that's what the Springfield bench was trying to say. Donahue flips it back into play. Volts lobs it over. Devlin, Brogel running the slot. Oh, goodness. Adjustment almost led to a kill. Oh, and a stumble there. Colby Atlas letting that one fall as she lost her footing over on the far side. Townsend with a serve. Westland, that hit floor, and Lex Storer knew it. 3-1 Beacons. UMass Boston, Atlas at the net. Wow. Strong start against a strong team. UMass Boston leads it 4-1. Make it 4-2. Jamie Albrecht replacing Lex Storer. Westland moves to the back to field it. Devlin, short toss, Brogel. They go wide to Donahue, stuffed at the net. But ultimately, Springfield gets it over. Beacons go to Garrity on the near side. Handled cleanly by Townsend. A little miscommunication there, perhaps, as Westland went for the dive as Dean popped it up. And the upshot is Springfield's point. Sharp serve from Kurtjan. Garrity lobs it high. Atlas will pass the free ball over. Up top, Donahue, right down the gullet. And we are even at 4 points apiece. Riley Donahue has a majority of the 15 kills for Springfield College. In fact, she's got more kills than almost all the Beacons combined. Taryn Brogel says not so fast and notches another. She'll go to serve now. Gentry with a free ball. Brogel. Devlin. Atlas through. Back-to-back kills for the Beacons. And they have regained the lead. Brogel with a skip and a serve. Donahue fields. Calls off the teammates, but it's an overpass. Springfield's going to have to make do. Instead, they toss it over on the first hit. Officials trying to clarify the ruling. It's UMass Boston's ball on the tip. 3 consecutive points for UMass Boston, and Taryn Brogel will continue her service run. Townsend. They go to Donahue with a tip. The whistle blows and the point goes to the Pride. Donahue. Beacons handle it. Albrecht. Easy control for Devlin and the Beacons. Off the block and a diving save from Albrecht. It's a terrific play, and it leads to the point. Springfield College UMass Boston Atlas close to the net and runs right into the block. They go to the other side. Garrity blocked again. Elsie Phillips leading that raucous cheering from the Springfield bench, just as she did last game. Garrity fields the serve. Gets it back. Overpass. Oh, tipped over the block, and that's where the height advantage comes into play. Springfield College gets to the ball first. Riley Donahue still serving, and a miscommunication. Easiest ace she'll get all season. Donahue, a beautiful form on the serve. Up top, Colby Atlas didn't get it over. Blockers were there to make sure. 9-7, make it 10-7 in favor of Springfield College in the second set. 5 points in a row. And the streak comes to a close. After this weekend, Beacons are going to be getting back to conference play. Their next couple of games come against LEC opponents is another point for Springfield College. UMass Dartmouth next up on tap for the Beacons. That'll be a Wednesday game at home before taking on Keene State College on the road a week from today. Springfield the day after today will go to Mount Holyoke for a conference game. That'll be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. 11-8 the score. And Arissa Boardman to serve. Tap over, beautifully done. The Beacons, after falling victim to it so many times against Roger Williams, use the little sneak tap to their advantage and pull back within 2. Chance here for them in the middle of the set to keep it close, and that's just what they're doing. Michaela Garrity with another ace. Beacons have got 7 of those to just 4 for the Pride. Into the net, and we're even. 11 points apiece. So UMass Boston, as they did in the first set after a tricky start, refusing to go quietly. They have closed the gap. And that's a kill if you've ever seen one. Right down the line. Lex Storer will take the server spot now. Her team up by 1, 12-11. Townsend. They go up top to Volt, handled nicely by Garrity. Brianna Henderson into the bottom of the net. So the Beacons tied it up. The Pride come back. 2-point lead now, 13-11. Misplay. An ace for the Pride. Lex Storer has set up shop in the server spot and has helped give the Pride a 3-point lead. Lob up top, Westland blocked at the net. And out of bounds, 4 in a row for the Pride. Dean Fields. Through the block and down, Lauren Westland. And the Beacons halt the Springfield momentum. Taryn Brogel back into the game, into that front line. Allie Dean to the server spot. Lauren Westland up there too. This is about as good a chance as the Beacons are going to have at a strong run. And through the block immediately. Springfield throws the brakes on that idea. Brogel through the middle off the tip of the block. Volts stuffed clean. Brogel and Westland right at the net. Amelia Devlin, the freshman, to serve. Long, 17-13. Springfield over UMass Boston to this point. Remember, the first set, 25-17 in Springfield's favor. They lead it 1-0. Allie Townsend now, second on the team in aces. Bids for yet another and can't quite get it. Colby Atlas off the block and down. Knifing off the outside of the blocker's hand and down to the empty region of the court. Tony Guerra in to serve. Westland takes a break. Townsend lobs up top. Donahue. That is big time muscle from Riley Donahue. Megan Kurtjan to serve. Still clinging to a 4-point lead is Springfield. Colby Atlas, make it 3. Colby Atlas finds the range. Brogel fielded by Donahue. Gentry to the floor. Tipped on the way through, said the officials. 19-15. Springfield leads. Riley Donahue, team leader in aces, back to serve. Just misses one here, but a free ball at the hands of Guerra. Lob up top. Is it Gentry? No, it's Billett. And it's a point for Springfield. (2015). Donahue once again making Tony Guerra work in the back middle. But the Beacons capitalize. Michaela Garrity down the near side. Leads down to 4. It's no good for the Beacons to keep trading points. At some point, they've got to make their move. Townsend. Kurtjan. Gentry off the tip of the block and Dean comes in to field it. Tip shot. Give and go at the net. Donahue fields in the back. They go to Albrecht. Oh, beautiful save there by Kurtjan. And the rally continues. Up top, Garrity, poke job. Donahue fields cleanly. Billett off the block, Garrow with a save. Dean to play it, Garrity gets it over. Diving dig in the back, Billett stuffed. And UMass Boston, hard fought point. And immediately give it back. A closer set than the first, but Springfield still looking to be on the front foot if the points are traded back and forth like this. Olivia Gentry to serve. Up top, Garrity poked back over. Beacons will have another chance. Henderson off the tip of the net, made it difficult, and Garrity will field on the opposite side. Miscommunication, and the lead is stretched to 5. Up top, Garrity narrowly avoided a violation there, did Olivia Gentry, and instead Springfield will take it. She came just inches away from cradling the ball. Gentry still serving. Dean, diving dig. Devlin. Henderson over. Billett had the ball hit behind her and had to adjust. Instead, Garrity gets a nice setup, but into the block. Volts and Albrecht. And once again, it's a 24-17 set point for Springfield College. Just through the teeth of the block. Cleary, ball still live. The set, it is done. 25-17 for the second straight set. And when we come back, we'll see if the Beacons can make a run at him in the third. You're watching UMass Boston Women's Volleyball on the LEC Network.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Well, for UMass Boston, they've certainly hung a little tougher through the first two sets against Springfield than did Roger Williams. But still, two decisive first and second set victories. That one sails just out for Springfield. 25-17 both times. And unlike against Roger Williams, they're keeping the starters in here. Allie Townsend and Riley Donahue did not play in the third set against the Hawks. They are starting the third set against the Beacons. Brogel with a free ball over. Up top, Donahue, poke job, returned by the Beacons. Westland, push shot, Townsend, up top, Volts to the back. Westland missed it. Off the pinky side of the palm and sliced into the net. 2-0 Springfield to start the third set. Thank you very much for joining us, spending some of your Saturday afternoon here with us on the Beacons Broadcast Network. My name is Milton Posner. Watching a day of volleyball in which UMass Boston has shown some flashes of the team they've been this past week and won a game. You'd probably, as most observers, they would have predicted a split here for UMass Boston. Beatable team in Roger Williams. A team more on par with how UMass Boston itself has performed this season, and then a much trickier opponent in Springfield. And so far it's played out about that way. Brogel, shove shot, tap, and the response, Megan Kurtjon. Strongest start of the three sets for Springfield College. Up top, Garrity just out by 2 or 3 inches at most. It misses the back line. Garrity into the net. Allie Townsend with an ace. Just one of many for her this season. She's been lighting up in more categories than one. More digs per set than any other libero in the NUMAC conference, and UMass Boston with Ruby Ackerman over the line is going to give another point to Springfield. Timeout. Calopi Delavuris wants to talk it over. 7-1, Beacons trail the Pride. We'll be right back. It's a 7-1 game. UMass Boston trying to make a comeback and stretch this thing out. Donahue through the block and down. Another kill for Donahue. Only hitter in the game in double digits in that category. She's got 11 of them. Lob, they go to the far side. Garrity over the block. Diving play by Townsend. But ultimately to no avail. Beacons take their second point of the set. Brogel to serve. Brogel on the dive, but it ultimately falls nevertheless. 9-2. And the Pride are threatening to run away with this set in a way that they didn't in the first two sets. They were within 4 each of those two sets at some point down the stretch before the Pride ultimately won them both by 8. And the Beacons fighting back with a kill into the far corner. UMass Boston 5-12 now, 1-3 in conference play. Springfield College 11-4, 3-3 in conference play. They're 5th place in the NUMAC, which at the moment is really being dominated by a couple of squads. It's Babson and MIT. That ball hits the ground in front of the attempted pancake from Allie Dean. 7-0 is Babson in conference, 16-1 overall. MIT 6-0, 14-3 overall. Emerson's at 3-2. Everyone else either is at or below 500, and this is in an 11-team conference. 4 squads at 500, 4 squads below it, and 2 of them running away in the early going. The LEC is a little bit more balanced here. Only Western Connecticut State is undefeated, and they haven't played quite as many games in conference as the NUMAC teams have. Up top, Garrity. Is that going to be a kill? No, a beautiful save by Townsend. The rally's going to continue. Another fantastic save from Townsend. Putting on a clinic here, and another one. Liberos in the audience take notes. Garrity, blocked. Beacons will try again. Back to Garrity. Blocked again. Nothing's getting through. Billett off the top of the net. And Dean to handle it. Henderson, free ball. Townsend Fields up top. Gentry. That'll do it. What a rally. What a performance from the Pride. And what a sequence from Allie Townsend. Got her hands on her knees, tired right now, trying to catch her breath. And waving off the plaudits sent her way by her teammates on the bench. Overplay into the net, and it's an 8-point lead for the Pride. Riley Donahue in the server spot. Who's fielding this one? It's Katie Rennie for the Beacons. Lob up top. Who wants it? It's Albrecht. Garrity. Nice save there from Donahue, and the tip into no man's land. It's Billett. 9-point lead as she takes a blow to the face from one of her teammates as they went in to celebrate. And another timeout. 13-4 in the last set. Starting to get away from UMass Boston. We'll be right back on the other side of this timeout.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Thirteen to 4, the score from Clark. Make it 14-4. Choked handle. And after competitive volleyball all day, it would be a sour note for UMass Boston to end on here. If they can at least make some kind of run, something to make them feel something to feel good about heading into the next conference slate. Henderson, strong hit coming out of the back. He's been trying to land those in one form or another all game. And she finally gets it through the blockers. Jade Hernandez, for the first time this season, is going to see some action. He's the only rostered Beacon who hasn't played up until now. And an ace, Michaela Garrity. For UMass Boston, they're missing a couple of players. As we mentioned earlier, Olivia Trindade, the 6'1" hitter out of Brazil, is not playing today, nor is Melina Sullivan. Both of them have missed the last couple games. Ackerman, Dean, Hernandez, her first touch. Townsend fields it. Billett. Ackerman comes a long way to grab it. Hernandez again and again. Townsend fields it. Who's getting this one? It's Henderson coming out of the back. Kurt Jan controls. One of the lengthier rallies we've seen all day. Townsend back tap. Billett. Dean with a save, but it's into the stands. And a 15-6 lead in order. Olivia Gentry to serve. Dean up top. Hernandez still looking for her first kill of the season. That's not Billett's first. She's had a lot of them that looked exactly like that. Natalie Billett continues to light things up. She's in double-figure kills right now to go along with her teammate Riley Donahue. Nobody on the Beacon side is. Westland's got 8. She's leading the way. Nobody else has more than 3. She's getting this one. Hernandez with a poke job into the block. Beacons keep, no they don't. And was a lift. And an apparent one right in front of the referee's chair. 17-6. Olivia Gentry continues her service run. Olivia Gentry hits the ball into her teammate's head. Ten-point lead now. Up top, Holtz, none the worse for that serve to the head. Tips the kill onto the 10-foot line. 18-7 in one of the more lopsided sets of the day to this point. Just into the game now is Morgan Stafford, wearing number 9. She will serve. We get our first look at Kelsey Cruz on the Beacon side too, wearing number 24 in white. Both coaches taking the opportunity for some run for some players we have not seen. Claire Dorr, the 5'1" senior defensive specialist, coming on for head coach Moira Long and the Springfield Pride. Free ball. Townsend, lob up top, Gallup. And that's a kill from Mae Voltz off the block. We have not called her name a ton necessarily, but Voltz at 6'1", along with Gentry, along with Billett and Donahue, have been critical to the run in this third set. 21-7. Stafford. Ah! Not even if you tried could you do that one again. Morgan Stafford, we're getting our first look here at Kylie Wicksted. 6'3" middle blocker out of Ronkonkoma, New York. Cruz, Ackerman, they go wide. Hernandez. First kill of the season for Jade Hernandez, the sophomore. (22-8) the score. Lob up top, Wicksted. Now when you're 6'3", you don't have to get that far off the ground. You can hit the ball right after you jump and still get something done with it. But in this case, the Beacons grab their 9th point of the set. Townsend, Kurt Jan, Billett with a big swing and enough power to force it through the block. Emily Keaveney set to come on. Arissa Boardman as well. And all the players out there, save for Megan Kurtjoner and Allie Townsend, are ones who have not gotten a ton of run time for Springfield in this game. Got some in the third set last time. Alyssa Tanu with a big hit. match point for the Pride. On a day when they have not lost a set, and when all but one set has been decided by 8 points or more, they have walked into Clark Athletic Center and shown their mettle. And now they've got 2 wins out of the deal. 25-10, the score in the final set. And Springfield takes this one handily. UMass Boston with a split, 3-2 over Roger Williams, and then down 3-0 to Springfield College. Just want to give a couple of thank yous before we sign off and say goodbye to Paige Olivier, Tam Landry, Adriana Crepaldi for all that they've done today on this broadcast, and to Michael Vesci for all the work that he does day in, day out, week in, week out, to make sure these broadcasts come to you in the way that they do, with the frequency that they do. Thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, the final scores from Clark Athletic Center. UMass Boston splits a pair 3-2 and 0-3 against Roger Williams and Springfield, respectively. Springfield earns the 2-game sweep by knocking out Williams in straight sets as well. For all of us here at UMass Boston and the Beacons Broadcast Network, I'm Milton Posner. Thank you so very much for being with us.